Well, I expect you're wondering how I made them, so let's take a quick look at how I made the arrowheads. From bits and pieces from a pound shop. Yeah, from a pound shop. And the odd DIY store that obviously I can't mention, that rhymes with P and poo. Oh, God, no, sorry. For the chunky, explosive type one with the light and a switch in it, I used some two-part epoxy type stuff to sort of mould a dome shape on the top of a brass light fitting. Once the two-part epoxy stuff was dry, I then got some hand tools, shaped the dome and got some sandpaper and made it all smooth, and then I got an LED, a switch and some batteries. Once I was happy with the shape of it, I drilled a hole in the end, fit the LED, connected up all the wires to a basic switch and some batteries. And lo and behold, it worked, which was nothing short of a miracle, to be honest with you. The other end of the brass lamp fitting thing looks like this, and I've drilled a hole through to fit the switch through, and the whole thing will obviously just screw back together. As with all the arrowheads, I used a grey primer spray can thing before spraying them with red paint, car paint. Now, the stabby injection and poison dart thing one is made from a sort of plastic thing that wires go into, like a connection box thing, and a sort of glass vial from a hobby shop, which I think little girls put fairies in or something like that, and bits out of a torch which I disassembled and used for a couple of different heads, and then like a din plug on the end for the sort of stabby injection bit. It's Ribena, by the way, if you were wondering what's in there. It's Ribena. Now, the nice pointy one is made with a plumb bob, which goes from the pointy bit all the way through to the knurled bit at the bottom, and then that torch I mentioned earlier on, the middle part of it is around the middle part of this arrowhead, which I've smoothed out by using that two-part sort of epoxy stuff, top and bottom. Having sandpapered out the two-part epoxy sections of this one, I've taped up the top and sprayed it with the undercoat. And here's how it looks after the red spray paint's been put on. This one was made almost entirely from two-part epoxy putty stuff wrapped round a large headphone jack extension thing with an arrowhead at the top. After it dried out, I got the Dremel out and started doing a little bit of carving. Here's how it looks after all that noisy work is done. I've cut some slots in the side to make it look a bit more like an arrowhead, give it a sort of a Type 16 barbed look. So after the undercoat's gone on, I sprayed it on with the red car paint, and this is how it looks. There's just a few details to go on, and the lines that I've left on, I'll use some blue Humbrol paint, make it look a little bit more interesting. Now that the arrowheads are finished, I've got to fit them into the case. I've managed to get hold of some foam that I've managed to cut into shape and slot into the bottom. Now I'm going to lay the arrowheads out where I want them, try and work out where I can fit them all in, draw around them and try and cut into the foam and get them to sit in there properly. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll see how we do. as I've always wanted one of those metal attaché cases that they seem to have in the Avengers. I got hold of the Avengers symbol, the shield symbol I should say, and cut it out, put it on top of the case, drew around it with a black marker pen, and then got the Dremel and a sort of grinding head, and I ground out the shape of the symbol on the box. Once it was all filled in, it ended up looking something like this.